Learn English through story. A night to remember. The summer of 1998 was unusually hot in the small town of Millstone, where the days melted into the evenings like the ice cream cones that seemed to be the only respite from the oppressive heat. The annual Millstone Fair was just around the corner, an event that brought the town together for a night of laughter, joy, and nostalgia. Among the excited residents was Sarah Dawson, a vibrant 27-year-old woman with long auburn hair and a penchant for adventure. Sarah had grown up in Millstone and had cherished memories of the fair, from the dizzying rides to the sweet smell of funnel cakes wafting through the air. This year, Sarah was particularly eager to attend the fair, not only for the festivities but also because she was planning to meet up with her high school friend, Mark Thompson. Mark had moved to the city after graduation, pursuing a career in finance. They had kept in touch sporadically, but a promise to catch up during the fair had reignited the spark of their friendship. Sarah remembered their carefree days spent talking about dreams and ambitions, and she felt a flutter of excitement at the thought of seeing him again. As the day of the fair approached, Sarah found herself daydreaming about what it might be like to reconnect with Mark. Would they reminisce about their high school antics? Would there still be the same chemistry between them that had lingered unspoken during their teenage years? She chose her outfit carefully, a playful sundress that twirled with her every movement, complementing her bright personality. On the night of the fair, the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. Sarah arrived at the fairgrounds, her heart racing with anticipation. The sounds of laughter, music, and the excited screams of children on rides enveloped her as she navigated through the bustling crowd. The atmosphere was electric, filled with families, couples, and groups of friends, all eager to celebrate the night. After an hour of wandering and absorbing the sights, Sarah spotted Mark leaning against a wooden post near the entrance of the fair, a smile stretching across his handsome face. He looked different, more polished than she remembered, but his eyes still held that familiar spark that had drawn her to him years ago. As they embraced, Sarah felt a rush of warmth. It was as if no time had passed at all. "Sarah, it's so great to see you," Mark exclaimed, pulling back to take her in. "You look amazing." "Thanks." "You too." "I can't believe how long it's been," she replied, feeling a mix of nostalgia and excitement. They spent the first part of the evening catching up, their laughter mingling with the sounds of the fair. Mark shared stories of his life in the city, his career, and the challenges he faced, while Sarah talked about her work as a graphic designer and her recent move back to Millstone after years of living away. The fair provided a perfect backdrop for their reunion, with the Ferris wheel illuminated against the night sky and the scent of cotton candy filling the air. As the night wore on, they decided to take a ride on the Ferris wheel. As they ascended, the view of Millstone sprawling beneath them took Sarah's breath away. The lights of the fair twinkled like stars, and for a moment, she felt as if they were the only two people in the world. "This is incredible," Mark said, leaning back and gazing at the view. "It's nice to be back in a place that feels like home." Sarah nodded, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. "I miss this town. It's funny how some things never change. The fair feels just like it did when we were kids." As they reached the top of the Ferris wheel, Mark turned to her, his expression serious. "I thought about you a lot since I moved. I always wondered what it would be like if we had stayed in touch more." Her heart raced at his words, and she felt a mix of hope and fear. "I thought about you too, Mark. We had some good times, didn't we?" "Yes, we did, and I always felt there was something a broken bar special between us," he said, his gaze penetrating. The air between them thickened, and for a moment, It felt as though time had stopped. "Yeah, I felt that too," Sarah admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. She couldn't deny the chemistry that had always simmered beneath the surface of their friendship. As the ride came to an end, they stepped off, and Mark took her hand, entwining their fingers as if it were the most natural thing in the world. They wandered through the fair, playing games and indulging in sweet treats, their laughter echoing through the night. At the heart of the fair stood a small stage where a local band began to play. The upbeat music drew the crowd closer, and Sarah found herself swept up in the rhythm, dancing alongside Mark. They moved in sync, their bodies swaying to the music, and for a moment, they lost themselves in the magic of the night. As the night wore on, the energy shifted. Mark pulled Sarah closer, his voice low and intimate. "Can I tell you something?" he asked, his breath warm against her ear. "Of course," she replied, her heart pounding in anticipation. "I've always felt a connection with you. You're the kind of person I can't forget. I've been waiting for the right time to tell you that I think we could be more than just friends." Sarah's breath hitched, a mixture of elation and fear coursing through her. "Mark, yeah." Before she could finish her sentence, a commotion erupted from the other side of the fairgrounds. A group of teenagers, laughing and shouting, bumped into Sarah and Mark, momentarily disrupting their moment. As they laughed it off, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling of being pulled back into reality. The fair was a temporary escape, but what lay beyond the fairgrounds was life yet complicated and unpredictable. "I'm sorry," Mark said, sensing her hesitation. "I didn't mean to rush things. I just a broken bar. I really care about you." "I care about you too," she replied, her heart torn between desire and the uncertainty of what a relationship might bring. "But what would that mean for us? You live in the city, and I just moved back." Mark's expression softened, and he brushed a strand of hair behind her ear. "Let's not overthink it. Let's enjoy this night and see where it leads us. We can figure it out together." His words ignited a flicker of hope within her. The idea of exploring a relationship with Mark was enticing, but the fear of the unknown loomed large. Still, as they danced under the stars, the music swirling around them, Sarah felt a sense of freedom. Perhaps this night could be a turning point, a chance to embrace the possibilities that lay ahead. As they continued to dance, lost in each other, the night deepened, and the crowd began to thin out. The warmth of the summer air wrapped around them like a comforting blanket, and Sarah felt as though they were in their own little world. Just as they were caught in a moment of laughter, a sudden flash of bright lights erupted nearby, pulling their attention away from each other. They turned to see a nearby booth, where a small crowd had gathered around a magician performing tricks. With a playful smile, Sarah suggested, "Let's go check it out." As they approached the booth, the magician was in the midst of an impressive card trick, captivating the audience with his sleight of hand. Mark pulled her close, and they both chuckled at the magician's antics. Sarah couldn't help but feel that, in this moment, everything was right in the world. "Are you ready to see something amazing?" the magician asked, looking directly at them. "You two seem like the perfect couple to participate." Mark raised an eyebrow, grinning at Sarah. "What do you think?" "Why not? Let's give it a shot," she replied, feeling adventurous. The magician gestured for them to step forward, and as they did, he produced a deck of cards from his pocket. He shuffled them expertly, then fanned them out before them. "Pick a card, any card," he said with a flourish. With a wink, Sarah selected a card and showed it to Mark, who feigned surprise as the magician pretended to guess which card she had chosen. Laughter erupted as the magician revealed that he had been tricked himself. As they continued to enjoy the performance, the magician pulled out a small wooden box. "Now, for my final trick, I need the assistance of our lovely couple." He motioned for Sarah and Mark to stand close together, holding the box between them. "Now, focus on this box and think of something you both desire." With hearts racing and a sense of camaraderie enveloping them, they both closed their eyes and imagined their shared hopes for the future: real love, adventure, and the possibilities of what could be. When they opened their eyes, the magician gestured for them to lift the lid of the box. Inside, they found a sparkling bracelet made of delicate silver chains adorned with charms that represented their dreams, a tiny airplane, a book, and a heart. "For you two, this represents your journey together. May it remind you of this night and the connection you share," the magician said, smiling knowingly. "Wear it as a symbol of your desires." As they accepted the bracelet, Sarah felt a swell of emotion. It was as if the universe was blessing their bond, encouraging them to explore this connection further. They slipped the bracelet onto Sarah's wrist, and she felt the weight of it as a promise of something more. With the performance over, Mark suggested grabbing a late-night snack. They made their way to a food stall selling corn dogs, laughing and sharing stories as they waited in line. The fair was beginning to wind down, and the atmosphere took on a more intimate quality as the music softened and the lights twinkled overhead. After enjoying their food, they wandered to a quieter part of the fairgrounds, where a small pond glimmered under the stars. The sound of crickets filled the air, creating a serene backdrop. Mark took a seat on a nearby bench, and Sarah followed suit, feeling a sense of calm wash over her. "This night has been incredible," Mark said, gazing at the stars. "I'm really glad we reconnected." "Me too," Sarah replied, feeling vulnerable yet hopeful. "It's been so nice to spend time together again." Mark turned to her, his expression serious. "Sarah, I know we've both been through a lot since high school. Life took us in different directions, but I can't help but feel that we're meant to explore this connection further." Sarah's heart raced at his words. She longed to embrace the possibilities, yet the weight of reality tugged at her. "But what if this is just a fleeting moment? I don't want to risk ruining our friendship." Mark reached for her hand, intertwining their fingers. "I understand that fear, but life is too short to hold back. Let's see where this leads us. We owe it to ourselves to explore the connection we have." In that moment, Sarah felt a shift within her, a desire to take a leap of faith. Perhaps this night was more than just a fair, it was a night of reckoning, a chance to embrace vulnerability and trust in the unknown. "I want that too," she finally admitted, her voice steady. "I want to see where this can go." As they sat together under the stars, Sarah felt a newfound sense of clarity. The possibilities stretched before her like the night sky, vast and full of potential. They leaned closer, their hearts in sync, as they shared their first kiss, a sweet, tentative meeting that ignited a spark of passion between them. As the fair began to close, Sarah and Mark reluctantly made their way back to the entrance. The night had been transformative, a beautiful blend of nostalgia and hope. They exchanged stories, laughter, and dreams, feeling an undeniable connection that pulled them closer together. At the fair's exit, they paused, the glow of the lights casting a warm hue over them. "I want to do this again," Mark said, his eyes shining with possibility. "Definitely. Let's make plans soon," Sarah replied, her heart full. With a promise to stay in touch, they exchanged a lingering embrace before parting ways. Sarah walked home, the bracelet glinting on her wrist, a symbol of the desires they had shared and the connection they had rekindled. The nights that followed were filled with messages and phone calls, each conversation deepening their bond. They explored their feelings and shared their dreams, navigating the complexities of their lives while slowly crafting a new chapter in their story. As weeks turned into months, Sarah and Mark began to redefine their relationship. They met often, enjoying adventures around Millstone and sharing moments that felt both familiar and exciting. Their connection blossomed into a love that felt destined, a deep-rooted affection that transcended the boundaries of time. Yet, amidst the joy, Sarah grappled with the uncertainty of what the future held. Mark's life in the city loomed like a shadow, a reminder that their realities were different. Sarah worried that the magic of the fair was a temporary illusion, a beautiful night that would fade into the past, leaving behind the ache of longing. One crisp autumn evening, as they strolled through a nearby park, Sarah decided to voice her concerns. "Mark, can we talk about what this means for us? I don't want to keep pretending everything is perfect if we're not on the same page." Mark stopped, turning to face her, his expression serious. "I've been thinking about that too. I love what we have, but I know there are challenges ahead. I don't want to lose you, but I also don't want to set unrealistic expectations." Sarah's heart ached at his words. "I care about you deeply, but I can't help but worry about the distance. It's hard to envision a future when we're not in the same place." Mark nodded, his gaze unwavering. "I understand, but I believe we can make it work if we're both committed. I'm willing to try if you are." The sincerity in his voice ignited a flicker of hope within her. "I want to try too. I want to be with you, but I need to know we're both in this for the long haul." With that shared understanding, they continued their walk, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. They spoke openly about their fears, dreams, and the compromises they would have to make. As the days turned into months, they navigated the complexities of their relationship, facing the challenges of distance, work commitments, and the unpredictability of life. But they remained devoted to one another, building a foundation of trust and communication. One evening, on the eve of the anniversary of their first night at the fair, Mark surprised Sarah with a heartfelt proposal. He had returned to Millstone, and they stood at the very spot where they had shared their first kiss. "Sarah," he began, his voice steady yet filled with emotion, "I've loved every moment we've spent together since that night. You've brought so much joy into my life, and I can't imagine a future without you. Will you be my partner, not just in love but in life?" Tears welled in Sarah's eyes as she realized the depth of his commitment. "Yes, Mark, 1,000 times, yes." In that moment, under the stars that had witnessed their journey, Sarah knew that their love was worth the risks. They embraced, the warmth of their connection enveloping them like a protective cocoon. With time, they forged a path forward, intertwining their lives while embracing the uncertainties that lay ahead. They explored new adventures, built a life together, and supported each other through the challenges of adulthood. The memories of their night at the fair became a cherished foundation, a reminder of how love had blossomed from the simplest of moments. As the seasons changed, so did their relationship. They learned to navigate the ups and downs of life with grace, always returning to that magical night, a night that had become a symbol of their journey, resilience, and enduring love. Years later, as they stood at the fair once more, this time as a married couple, Sarah reflected on how far they had come. The sounds of laughter and music filled the air, and she felt the warmth of nostalgia wash over her. Hand in hand with Mark, she gazed up at the Ferris wheel, recalling their first try together, the whispers of their dreams echoing in the night. "This is where it all began," she said, her heart full. Mark smiled, pulling her closer, "and it's only the beginning. Our story is just getting started." As they embraced under the stars, Sarah knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together united by the bond forged on that unforgettable night, a night they would always remember. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you enjoyed, then please like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.